Welcome to Simple Life. Yes, this is the area that I re-terraced after terracing it and realizing that it wasn't what I wanted. But now we are getting ready to start prepping for putting beds in. We are about a year away from using some of these beds, but this bottom bed right here, I want to do a different method to, and I want to try something, and I want to show you what we're going to try. What we are going to do is we are going to take this big, lovely bale of haylage, and we're going to roll it out across this. I'm hoping we can get back and forth, but I don't think we can. I think we can only get up once. Now, if that's the case, I'll bring another bale up tomorrow. I can only fit one in my truck at a time, and I didn't feel like taking the dump truck down. So we will just put one, and then tomorrow we'll come up and we'll put another one in, if that's the case. But what is this going to do for us? That's really the question. Why am I trying to put haylage down to build up organic matter in my garden? Well, the real issue that I've seen I talked about this, I think in the previous video, about the fact that I'm noticing because of the amount of tillage that is done, the soil doesn't have a lot of real good organic matter. And what I mean by that is it's just kind of bare of the nutrients, everything it needs for things to grow. And we're getting very small and weak crops that are just grown in the soil, which is okay. This is a time to learn that before, I'm trying to do production or something like that. Once we are done putting our hay down, how am I going to keep it from just being bleached by the sun? What is going to happen? Well, I'll show you that. I have been blessed with this huge light deprivation tarp. That's what this is. It's for a greenhouse, and I'll talk about the greenhouses and where I got this in another video because it's kind of changing everything for us. Somebody gifted me some stuff, and I'm going to explain how the whole situation happened and describe something that has happened over and over again to us as we've lived in the country, and I've just worked, how people seeing the fact that I'm working has opened up opportunities for us. That's another video. That's not today. But this tarp is huge. I think it's about 60 feet by 120 feet long. And so it's not going to cover this whole thing, but I think it's actually almost twice as wide as we need. Not sure yet because it was on the ground in kind of a pile. As you can see, I rolled it up and we got it here. Now we're going to unroll it and we're going to see how long it is, how wide it is, and then we will figure out what we're going to do with it, meaning how I'm going to cut it up. Because as it is right now, it weighs about probably 300 to 400 pounds. It's a really thick plastic and it's reinforced. Let me show you. So, like the haylage tarps that I use, this is black on one side and white on the other. This has fibers in between, and it's actually two pieces of plastic. It's not one. So it's twice as thick as the stuff I typically use. The amazing part about this is this tarp, or in its originality, like brand new, it's like $2,000, maybe more, depending on the size. It's a very expensive tarp. This is not a cheap thing that I would have bought. And what I mean by a cheap thing I would have bought is the tarps that I buy aren't this good. I get them for like 150 bucks or something like that. And they're 24 by 100. So not on the scale, not as good, not gonna last as long. This thing is huge. Well, as you can see, it's big. It's a huge tarp. It's also very heavy. You can see the boys and I really struggle with moving it. Until we flattened it all out, and then getting a little bit of that air underneath of it helps reduce the amount of friction you have to deal with. It was a little easier to move. Here's what I'm gonna do. There's a seam that goes right down the middle of this. I'm gonna cut it right in the middle of the seam. We got it cut in half, and then we stretched it out. It turns out these beds are almost 200 feet long from beginning to end. And so we ended up with two sections. I believe these sections are about 24, maybe 25 feet wide. They actually do a way better job than I could have planned because it means I can sandbag them at the top and then they'll drape down the side, which means I can choke out whatever's on the side as well if I want to, or I can fold it under and we can just run the whole entire top bed or the bottom bed. So the next plan of attack, well, is to take this and we're going to roll it out up that way. We're going to see how far we can get with the haylage before we run out of haylage. I think I'm going to need to bring 2 more of these up. I didn't realize that this was about 200 feet. I don't know how far I thought it was. I didn't realize how long it was. These are pretty big beds. Now, I'm not gonna have one continuous bed going up and back. We're gonna do some splits in the middle somewhere. I'm not really sure how we're gonna do it. But for right now, I just wanna start building up organic matter. So we're gonna open this up and we're gonna get it unrolled. As you can see, we got basically one pass done. I think we're gonna need probably 2 more, maybe 3 more to really finish this off. It's a good, I'm gonna say like 3 inches of compacted, fairly compacted hay. And in other areas, it's a little thicker than just the 3 inches we have here. But it goes all the way up and it unrolled really nicely in a 4-foot swath. So you may be able to tell, it's a little hot out. It's like gonna be 98 today. Now here in Oregon, that's not what we're used to. Now I know other places you guys get much hotter than 98, but we're just not used to it here in Oregon, so it's a bit on the hot side. And we're actually trying to get all this stuff done before it gets real hot, because this peak of 98 is actually about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and we're still only at lunch, and so it's actually only 84. But I think the tarp's not making it easier because it really feels hot over here. So what we're gonna do right now is we're actually gonna finish this by starting at the top and pulling the tarp over all of this. And then the whole thing will be covered. And this haylage is actually moist. It's got moisture in it. It's not dry. And so that moisture is gonna get locked in with the moisture that's been in the ground, because we've actually put some sprinklers on this for the last week or so. And so hopefully all that will invite all the good worms and buggies and everything over the next 6 months or so to start breaking this down. And that's the plan. We got it done. That wasn't too painful to get it stretched out. Cutting that tarp in half really made it really easy to move it. It's still probably a little bit of a bear if one person was trying to fold it up, but at this size, I think it's pretty good. For right now, we have plenty of organic matter in there, and we will see you guys next week. Hopefully it'll be cooler, not as hot. Right, boys?
Yeah.
Yes, we're all going to go enjoy some cool shade, that's for sure. All right, have a good one. Thank you for joining us on A Simple Life. Bye.